Hi, I'm Kerry Astle-Frew. I'm from V Dorset, a vegetarian and vegan catering company based in Poole, and now I'm going to make for you a traditional watercress soup. So the first thing I'm going to do is dice up some onions. Now this recipe should do about 4 people. I'm going to use 2 medium-sized onions. So the thinner you slice your onions, the quicker the soup's going to cook. So if you're after doing something quick, the thinner you can slice them and the potatoes, then the better. Okay, so in here I've got 50 grams of butter. I'm going to use half of that now to saute the onions. So once the butter starts to foam, you can add in your onions and your garlic along with a pinch of salt. Now you want to saute them in the butter until they start to turn translucent and there's a little bit of caramelisation around the edges. So while that's happening, I'm going to slice up my potatoes. If you don't have a mandolin, you can dice these instead. But as I said, the thinner you can do it, then the quicker the soup's going to cook. The potatoes are going to form most of the substance of this soup, so you need to make sure you've got enough in there, otherwise it's going to be too thin. For 4 people, I would say roughly 3 small potatoes. So once your onions have started to turn translucent and they've got a bit of colour to them, you can add in your potatoes. And then we're going to cover that with about 600 millilitres of vegetable stock. So I'm going to bring that to the boil and then let it simmer until the potatoes have softened. Okay, so these have now been cooking for about 15 minutes. I can tell they're cooked because when I stick a knife into the potatoes, they break apart quite easily. So now what I'm going to do is put in, this is a bag of watercress from a supermarket, a whole bag, so it's roughly 80 grams depending on which supermarket you go to. And put this into the pan. Now although we don't want to cook the watercress for very long at all because otherwise it will lose its colour, we do need to make sure it's cooked because if it's raw you won't get the nice smooth texture from the soup. So I'm going to give this about 30 seconds. Just till it's properly wilted down. If you've got any thick stalks in there, just give it a little bit longer, but this is quite nice young watercress. Right, and there we go. So I'm going to bring this over to the blender. Now with this sort of soup, it can be quite easy to make it too thin if you put too much liquid in. So what I'm going to do first of all is just use this spider to put the solid ingredients into the blender first. And then I'm just going to add a bit of liquid at a time until I get the right consistency. Okay, that's the first lot. You want to try and get all your bits of onion and garlic in there because otherwise you'll lose some of that flavour. Now in the last batch, this is when I'm going to add the rest of this butter. So this is 1 ounce of butter and about 75 millilitres of double cream. When you add the butter, you want it to be cold because if you blend in cold butter, it'll give it a nice shine. Okay, so now I'm going to mix the two together and just season it. So I find this soup does take a lot of seasoning, especially if it's got potatoes in. Potatoes always need a bit more seasoning than you think. And the pepperiness of the watercress should be enough. I don't normally add any pepper to a watercress soup because you sort of mask that flavour. Right, so now I'm just going to put it into a jug and serve it up. So there you have it, a traditional British watercress soup. It's quick and easy. You can keep it in the fridge for up to 3 days or you could freeze it for 2 months.